I do have a quick tidbit of the week this week before we bring our special guest on, John McLaughlin with Iowa Firearms Coalition. So stay tuned for that. But really quickly, this is something that I'm changing gears on just a little bit. The tidbit of the week this week is called Doing Hard Things. So, as we talk about getting uncomfortable and doing hard things on this channel in order to foster growth and self reflection in our lives, we as instructors, we talk about tuning into our students' emotions and comfort zones in order to know just the right amount of push or pull or backing off that we might need in order for them to develop the way that works best for them, right? Because what's hard for one person might not be the same for another person. And I've learned a valuable lesson lately about doing hard things that I want to share with you. Now, hang in here with me, guys. It's a little bit different, but it's a little bit different take than I normally would talk about. But I think it's really important. So I can't be the only one, but in the past couple of months, for me have been a little bit challenging. I've admittedly allowed myself to kind of slide sideways into the holiday season. Can anybody else relate to that? Creating a practical food coma on Christmas Day and then not feeling very good afterwards, having sort of a Christmas hangover in some ways, and just kind of allowing myself to slack in many areas, personally, really, not work wise, but personally. And was it all worth it? No, not really. The Christmas cookies were good, but they really weren't worth they weren't worth how I felt afterwards, right? And there comes a point, at least for me, where I just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Can anyone else relate? You just get to this point where you can only tolerate so much. And so I got back on the horse recently, and little by little, I've been getting back to being the me that I enjoy being. A little bit healthier, a little bit more active, and that all translates to a happier me and a happier people around me too, right? So for those of you out there who also struggle with this, because I know I'm not the only one. In fact, I might be preaching to the choir, right? I want you to think about doing something hard, but not in the way that many of us have been taught. I want you to take a look at your values and your beliefs. How do you define yourself? What is your identity? How you identify yourself will ultimately dictate your thoughts and your behaviors. Now, let's just say on an imaginary scale of 1 to 10, you tell yourself all the reasons why you will never be a 10. Okay. And I don't mean a 10 in how you look, guys. I mean in 10 and whatever that is to you, whether that's being, really successful in life. Maybe that's being the best father you can be, or the best mom you can be, or the best, spouse, or whatever that looks like to you. All right. You listen to others who tell you the same thing, that you can never be that, and you believe it for whatever reason. You will perpetually be stuck at that level or lower, at a 5 or lower, because you will unconsciously and consciously live your life at that lower level. So let's say you think of yourself as a 5 level because you grew up that way, and every person in your family is that way, and so on and so on. And somehow through circumstance, you level up to a 10, let's say, okay? And you become wildly successful, or whatever 10 looks like to you. If you're still in a 5 mindset, you will sabotage yourself and end up right back where you were to begin with, because your values and your beliefs didn't align with that. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here, guys? Is this making any sense? So this is all in theory, but I hope you understand what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that you can think your way to a 10, right? For a virtual 10, not at all. You cannot think your way into anything, but your thoughts and your beliefs are where everything else in your life stems from, which is your behaviors and your actions, right? So here's a hard thing for you to contemplate tonight. Ask yourself, what do you really believe about yourself? What do you really believe about yourself? Do you believe you're the type of person who procrastinates because it's an excuse you've made in the past, and so now, well, that's just who you are? Do you believe that you're never going to achieve XYZ, and you have just resolved that that's just the way it is because of these reasons? And well, I guess I'll just live that way because I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to do any differently, right? In talking about doing hard things are not always about lifting heavy things, gritting your way through life, being the tough guy or the tough gal or always being the strong person. The hard things are usually the internal conflicts, the quiet vulnerability that we resist because it's just too uncomfortable. So we keep ourselves busy with less important things. It's the difficult conversations we avoid having because we don't want to be truthful and we're fearful about how that conversation could go. Or it could be the honest conversations with ourselves about being truly honest about the excuses we make and the lies we tell ourselves. And the lies you tell yourself can be very powerful, but only if you aren't aware they're a lie and you actually buy into them. And hey, I'm not lecturing at all here, guys. I've bought into plenty of lies. We all have, right? I've been down this path and I struggle with all these things. That's why I'm bringing this up, because this is on my heart tonight. So perhaps those lies are instead disguised or even stem from fear. One of my favorite songs is called Fear is a Liar by Zach Adams. And I would love for you to look it up and listen to it because the lyrics are very powerful. I really strongly encourage you to look that up. So, in closing, what do you truly believe about yourself? Think about that. Truly. As defenders, we train to do hard things that others may not even want to think about. If we can do that, let's also not be afraid to do the hard work within ourselves.